Hello students, today we're going to go ahead and go over order of operations. For order of operations here, we're going to start with a little example. This is two students. We're given the following expression, 4 plus 6 times 2. We have student A's work and student B's work. It says both answers can't be right, so which one is correct? So let's take a look here. Student A did 4 plus 6 first to get 10, and then 10 times 2 to get 20. Student B got 4 plus 6 times 2. They multiplied first to get 4 plus 12 and then got 16. Notice how we got two different answers doing it two different ways. Well, in math, this is why we have rules, so that there's consistency with the answers that we get. This is why we use order of operations. So let's take a look at what order of operations are, and then we'll go back and we'll answer that question. A lot of you know PEMDAS as a way to remember order of operations. P stands for parentheses. These are grouping symbols. E stands for exponents. So that can be something like squared, or square root is also an exponent because it's the opposite of squared. M is multiply. D is divide. The reason these are next to each other is because we go from left to right. So whichever one we see first is the one we're going to do. And the last one we have add and subtract. Those are also next to each other because they are from left to right. So looking back up at these students' work, the first one added first. Student A added first. Student B multiplied first. Which one is correct? Well, according to order of operations, we should multiply before we add. So student B, because, B/C stands for because, they followed order of operations. So notice if you don't use the order of operations, you could get several of these problems wrong. So it's important that we follow that. Let's go ahead and go over some examples. For this first example, there's no parentheses, no exponents. However, we do have multiplication and division. Recall we go from left to right when we do those. So the first thing we want to do is divide. So we get 6 plus 12 divided by 2 is 6 times 3. Now we can do the multiplying to get 6 plus 18. So our final answer is 24. For the next one, we do have parentheses. Let's do that first. 8 plus 3 times 10 minus 8 is 2 squared. So we did the parentheses. Now we need to do the exponent. 8 plus 3 times. Notice the squared only goes to the 2. It does not also go to the 3. So 2 squared is 4. Now we multiply next. So 3 times 4 is 12. So we get 8 plus 12, which is 20. In example 3, we have two sets of parentheses. When we have that, we want to start with the innermost set. So I'm going to have 5 plus brackets 4 times 3 times 3. Now inside these sets of parentheses, it's all multiplication. It just looks different. We have the dot for multiplication and we have parentheses. So we're going to do those from left to right. 5 plus 4 times 3 is 12 times 3. 5 plus 12 times 3 is 36. So 5 plus 36 is our final step, and that will give us 41. For number 4, we have a fraction. When we have a fraction, you can do one step on top and one step on the bottom at the same time. So on top, we have parentheses. I'm going to do that first. 6 times 2 times 5. On the bottom, we just have one step, 11 plus 4, which is 15. Now it's all multiplication on the top. I'm going to go from left to right. 6 times 2 is 12. So I have 12 times 5 on the top, and I have 15 on the bottom. 12 times 5 on top is 60. I have 15 on the bottom. Now that I've simplified top and bottom, I'm going to look at it as a whole. 60 over 15. This does divide evenly and get a final answer of 4. For number 5, we have a square root, and inside the square root we have grouping symbols. So we're going to do that grouping symbol first. 5 plus the square root of 3 plus 2 times 27 minus 4 is 23. Now looking underneath the square root, I'm going to do the multiplication. 5 plus the square root of 3 plus 2 times 23 is 46. I get 5 plus the square root of 49, which is 5 plus 7, so I get 12. Notice how I'm showing my steps the whole way down. I'm doing one step at a time and I'm showing it each time. We do expect you to show your work in the same manner. For the next one, we have a pretty lengthy problem. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents, so I jump to multiplication and division. Remember, when I do those, they're from left to right. As I go from left to right, I have 42 divided by 7 first. 42 divided by 7 is 6. So I have 6 times 5 plus 15 minus 7 plus 2. Now going from left to right again, 6 times 5 is 30. 30 plus 15 minus 7 plus 2. So all I have left is adding and subtracting. I can add and subtract from left to right. 30 plus 15 is 45. Minus 7 plus 2. 45 minus 7 is 38. And 38 plus 2 is 40. For the next two, we're evaluating an expression. So for the number 7, we're evaluating it when x equals 4. This has a little more work involved because we have to substitute first. So I do 3 times 4 squared minus 5 times 4 plus 9. Now using order of operations, I have exponents here. So I'm going to do 3 times 4 squared is 16 minus 5 times 4 plus 9. Now I can do multiplication. 3 times 16 is 48. Minus 5 times 4 is 20 plus 9. 48 minus 20 is 28. And 28 plus 9 is 37. For 8, we're evaluating, but we have A is 6 and B is 3. So we're substituting for 2 letters. When I do this, I'll have 2 times. A is 6 times B, which is 3, minus 4 times B, which is 3. Now that I've substituted, I can use order of operations. Parentheses and exponents we can skip over. We do have multiplication. 2 times 6 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Now I'm going to do 12 times 3, which is 36, to get 36 minus 12, which is 24. And this concludes our notes for today. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask your teacher.